Hi guys, welcome to my channel Lush Foliage. I hope you guys are fine and are safe. In today's video, we are talking about an extremely popular house plant called as Monstera Adansonii. Now this plant is known for its foliage. You can see beautiful foliage with a lot of fenestrations on the leaves. Now this has been a very popular houseplant from a very long time, but of late it has become a very famous and popular houseplant. It can be grown indoor as well as outside, but if you're placing it outside, ensure that you do not keep in direct sunlight, especially afternoon sunlight, no ways, because all of the leaves will get burnt. If it's very warm outside, then you can move it indoor because it does not like a lot of heat. Right now we all are experiencing summer, so due to this problem the leaves will start to turn droopy. It will start getting wrinkled because of the excess heat. But if you have it as a mature plant, then nothing to be worried. It will do extremely well, but ensure that you do not expose it to direct afternoon sunlight or any form of direct light, because this plant prefers to grow in an very indirect bright light kind of an environment. It is a variety of this variety is an epiphyte, so it basically is like a plant that tends to grow on other plants. I will show it to you in some time, the nodes of this plant. So you can use a pole, you can use a moss pole, moss stick, or you can even make the rope pole as well, and you can let it climb on it. It will start growing onto it. It's an extremely beautiful plant. Now talking about the soil, I use the same soil what I use for my other plants. I have put the link in the description below. Fertilizers during summers, I would say reduce adding fertilizers because it's already very warm. Adding of nutrients and fertilizers will again heat up the soil. So keep your adding of fertilizer slightly on the lower side during summers. That is going to help it out a lot, because otherwise there is a high chance that because of the heat generated it will harm the roots. As I said, keep it in indirect bright light. It will do absolutely fine. They can also do well in low light, but it's always better to give a good amount of indirect bright light. Morning sunlight is okay if the plant is very mature. But if you have recently brought the plant, then do not expose it to direct sunlight. Just keep it in indirect cool area. It will do quite well. Propagation is pretty simple. It tends to put out a lot of nodes. You might have seen how the money plant also tends to put out. The pothos also tend to put out. You can see these are the nodes over here. So if I want to propagate this, I have to just cut it beneath this. There are two of them. I can do a cutting, but I do not want to multiply this right now, probably someday in future. So you can always cut it just beneath this node and then let it root. You can do it in leca, or you can just put it in soil directly. Don't water immediately, wait for some days and then add water. It's a pretty simple to grow plant, non-fussy. And always remember, most of these foliage plants, they do not require direct light. Even though they flower, but they are not known for the flowers. Very rarely they flower. We usually put our flowering plants in direct sunlight, but these guys will do very well in indirect bright light. Pest attack is not much of an issue, but you always need to check the underneath of your leaves if there is any kind of cottony kind of insects that tend to grow. If that happens, then you can just clean it up. You can dip the cotton in slight vinegar and slight of soap, probably little bit of soap. Either you can spray it, but always ensure that it's kept away from any kind of light when you're doing this, and just clean it off. That's maximum you can do. I usually do not spray neem oil on my plants. I just, in case if I happen to see any insects like this, I just take a cotton, add a little bit of vinegar and a little bit of soap, and just touch that area wherever there is any infection, and it tends to work out really well. So it's a pretty simple plant. Watering, again, I would suggest during summers every alternate day, depending on your environment, your climate. If the soil tends to dry, if the upper layer of soil tends to dry faster, around 2 to 3 inches, then you have to go ahead and water it. It will show you the signs that it requires water. The leaves will start, you can see it will start falling downwards like this. It indicates that it requires water. So that is how you can do your watering. So guys, that's all about this plant. It's a pretty simple plant. Just keep it in indirect bright light. When the upper layer around 2 inches of soil is dry, you can go ahead and water it. They prefer a slight moisture in the soil. That's the reason why we use a little bit of coco peat in it. So guys, I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe and keep planting.